Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
Lumi Sandler,
Lumi the Lion, and
Jessica Lee.
Woohoo! Is this the first time we've had Lumi on camera like this?
It's the first time that he's been here for the start of the show.
So, I mean, the changes that he has made, we don't want this to be the kiddie show necessarily, and I see a couple people have just jumped off immediately, but the changes that he has made ever since we started taking him out of the box and using the Pygmalion effect for good rather than evil have been phenomenal, haven't they?
Look at the giant smile on his face.
Ooh. He does have a Cheshire cat grin. So that's, I guess, what we want to talk about today is say that one for me. Yeah, you can't do it either. and there's my father-in-law in the background. So that is William Lee drinking some water back there, making a cameo appearance. The in-laws are visiting right now. I guess that's part of it too. We want to talk about finding your happy place. And having them here certainly is a part of the happy place, although he doesn't know that we're live on air. So there's a certain amount of flipper going on in the heart right now as we're doing this. But let's talk about the fun. First off, so we've got a whole bunch of fun things to talk about, but I think we should start with the most happy, joyous, stressful event that's recently happened in our lives. And I'm not talking about the bike race. We'll talk about that more at the end. I'm talking about my birthday.
Oh, yeah. You can tell that story.
I can tell that story. So I've talked a lot about in the show about we often have wiring inside of us that comes around and around and around. And it's not that we're in the same place in life year after year. Can we scoot you just a little bit in? It's not that we're in the same place in life year after year. We're continuously going around in the spiral and evolving, but we still have wiring or grooves in the record or even large gouges in the record as that needle comes around, old school vinyl, and go skip, skip, skip. And for myself, that groove in the record is historically a you're not worthy, you're not good enough, or what I call the screw up gene. And that gene loves to come out to play on what day of the year?
August 25th?
Oh, well, yes. Now we've got that out there for the world. But yes, August 25th, it loves to come out there and party like a rock star that's taken way too much God only knows what. And I mean, I've had some traumatic events on birthdays. We don't have to go into them specifically, but suffice it to say that my birthday growing up until at least the age of 18 was the most scarring, dangerous, difficult, challenging, painful, horrific, tear-filled, scarring day of the year. And so my mind, my ego likes to repeat that on the birthday because that's what it feels comfortable with. You're smiling. I'm a little bit nervous about this smile.
I'm having private conversations.
Okay, private conversations.
Publicly. Private to you.
Private. Okay, then. Something about Virgos and being tiny. Anyway, as I was saying here, I've gotten much better over the years, but birthdays have been, it used to be that I didn't want to talk about them, that I would hide on my birthday. There's at least a year or two where I'd volunteer on my birthday, which I think is a very good thing, put the focus on others, but that I had a really hard time getting to a happy place on my birthday. And this year I hoped for something different. And my goal and what I was getting out of my automatic writing was to bring the sweetness into the day. And so rather than focusing on, we had talked about paragliding, parasailing, all things para, but instead of doing those, we had kind of a sweet day. And we went out kayaking, and I know you want a Budinsky here, so go for it.
Well, it's like the opposite of the Oreo cookie. We had like the white stuff on one end, the beginning of the day, and then we had the creamy white stuff on the
You're talking 2 layers of white stuff, but the chocolate stuff wasn't very good, and that was what was in the middle? You're saying the Oreo, it's only the sweet part of the Oreo that's good, or in reference to the sweetness?
Well, when you're a kid, you want the creamy stuff in the middle. I guess as an adult, you want the cookie part.
I was a big wafer kind of guy, but you're right. At some point, I probably like the sweet stuff. So where she's getting at is we had the most beautiful morning. I started to fall apart midday. And I don't even remember, I'm already blanking the day, but I think thanks to you, the day turned itself around. And then we had drawn cards for this day. It was the coolest thing. Drew cards from this tarot deck, shamanism tarot deck. And I asked for a birthday card, and I pulled a card, and it was a rainbow. And what happened that evening?
That evening, we were outside on the deck, and it started raining.
Yeah.
And a rainbow appeared.
And
it was a full rainbow.
Our first full rainbow at the house. And you called me out here. And it was like, it was a sign. The day had been turning itself around. It had been coming around. I had gotten back to the sweetness. I recognized the wiring going on inside of myself, but didn't participate in the wiring. The best that I could do was say, I'm going to try to distance myself from it and recharge. And now you being the Pookie that you are trying to poke me with the fork and say, no, you can't get away from it. Face your wiring. And I'm like, I'll be fine. But we turned it around. And that was, I think, a huge opportunity of getting back to what makes us happy, getting back to the sweetness. What did you learn out of that?
I'm still waking up from a nap, so.
All right, we'll talk with her later. So
that's very difficult questions.
But what it gets at, and where I'm going with a big part of happiness today, is happiness is really about switching perspective. Something can be the greatest experience, it can be the worst experience, just depending on how you look at it. So, we went out for a beautiful kayaking adventure where the waters were low, it was kind of mellow, it was in many ways perfect. And we could have looked at that as, wow, this is the most perfect experience in the world. Or you could look at it as, this is my birthday. Aren't I supposed to be doing something fun, exciting? And instead, I'm just taking a trip down the river in this little dinghy kayak. But it's all about perspective. And if you shift that around, and I think one of the things you can do to shift that around is gratitude. And even in the middle of it, even when I was having the most difficult time, I was fully aware of how special it is, how far we have come, and what we have in our lives. And it's sort of like we have your parents visiting this week, and I think you said something to the effect of you're proud how we're doing, you're proud how we're working as a team, or we've grown up. And you meant that in the best of ways.
Yeah, I said something like, well, in the early years, I felt like you were an anchor. And then, I know, it sounds harsh,
but it's okay. It's okay. Because you were having to do the, forget the pun, boatload of the work.
And then, but that stressed me out, wore me out, and I got sick because I couldn't continue like that. And I, in a sense, became the new boat anchor.
Or by detuning for a few years, so to speak.
So the tables are turned, and I guess your karma was cleared, and my karma was cleared, and now we're finally both unanchored, unmoored,
untethered and dangerous. I don't know. I have this when you say cleared, I'm picturing, this is way old school. Almost nobody will remember this. But the old carbon, you probably kept one under the counter at REI for when the computers went down. You take a credit card thing and you go,
yeah.
And I'm picturing going to clear the karma, or an old Etch-a-Sketch. And shaking
it's a clean slate. So I feel like we're finally like equal partners. We're both fully on board and doing the work.
So with that said, happiness, it's an inside job. What do I mean by that? It really requires knowing yourself, knowing what makes you happy, knowing what tripwires you. For instance, you could go out, one of the biggies is going and doing something that you don't want to do because somebody else wants you to do it and you feel obligated to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know yourself well, you might not do it. I have no idea on this one, but we're going to leave that alone for the moment.
Okay.
But it really takes knowing yourself. So I have an exercise for everybody. And it's similar to one of the onboarding exercises that I do with coaching clients. And that is for knowing yourself. For the next week, each morning when you get up, I want you to write down 7 things that you like to do each morning. The trick is each morning, those 7 things needs to change. Could be real easy in the beginning, could be real difficult later on. You may need to go to family, to friends, loved ones, certainly, and ask, what do you think I like to do? Because it may be hard to come up with 35 different things that you like to do. You can go back to college or high school or even your childhood and look at what you like to do. And you were pointing it out to me recently that one of my mechanisms for healing and or escape, but also for great joy, was just riding my bike around as a kid. Getting out, riding the bike around, going. What do I used to tell you when I would go for a run when we first met in Boulder?
You'd say you were going for a run around the block.
Yeah.
And then you'd be gone for 2 hours.
Yep. And when I was growing up, we had a block. It was 1/3 of a mile long, and I wasn't allowed off of the block. And so when I would go out of the house and somebody asked me where I was going, I'd say I'm going around the block, and I'd be like,
You really did just stay around the block? I thought you biked to like Maine or something.
I biked to Maine when I was, I think it was 12.
How many miles is that?
It was a 100-mile ride.
And you called your parents?
And I called my parents.
From Maine.
And then
And then
actually, no, I called my mom, or I called my parents first. My mom was at work. Mom was home sleeping late, which she used to do. My dad was at work. So I called my mom on the New Hampshire border, about to go into Maine. So I was letting them know where I was, and I figured they'd turn me back. And my mom yelled at me for waking her up and said, "What the hell are you bothering me for?" Sorry, Mom, love you. It seems like a weekly thing. Poor Mom.
what time was it?
10 something.
Okay.
on a weekend. And so I crossed the border and I called my dad when I was in York, Maine. I'm from Danvers, Mass. So it's about 50 miles away. And he kind of freaked out. And I said, "Don't worry, I'm turning around and heading home." And that was when I no longer went around the block. Now, truth be told, that summer I had gotten a job at a golf course, which was 4 or 5 miles away. So my range had extended quite a bit. I was wandering everywhere by that point already. Prior to that, it was literally pretty much just around the block with my 1-speed bicycle until I got my 10-speed. And then I was exploring, and I loved exploring. And so if you ask me what I love to do around here, I think what we both love to do, and that comes back to knowing yourself, love exploring, trying new things, finding new places to go. And that brings great joy.
There must not have been many cars back then or something. If my kid called me from several states away, I think I'd be like, "Don't you dare get back on the road. I'm coming to pick you up."
There was one interstate bridge I had to cross that was admittedly really, really challenging into Portsmouth, New Hampshire. But you know, was it was. I mean, this is Massachusetts, pretty crowded, but thankfully my parents, I don't know if they trusted in me at that point. What's my dad going to do? He's at work. Is he going to cancel work and go grab me? All right. So look what you found. Look for 7 things each day that make you happy. Now ask yourself, after you do this exercise, how many of them are you still doing? That's part of what we want to get back to. Now, obviously, there'll be things that we like to do now that we didn't do then, things that we did then that we don't want to do now, maybe playing superheroes or who knows what. But a lot of those things brought us great joy. And if we can get back to them, we start to find our happy place. Another thing that helps us find our happy place is one of the things Jessica's been doing a lot lately. Insert awkward pause here.
Walking around the yard, picking weeds.
Well, that's the second one. Bless you.
Excuse me.
The first one is expressing yourself. One of the greatest reasons that we have heartache in life is we don't express our true voice. We don't express our authentic voice. We keep it quiet. We stuff it inside of us. And now in our relationship, she's expressed herself very well from about day nanosecond 1. But haven't you been doing and expressing like on here?
Sure. Yeah. I think moving here has been a big shift. I have more energy here.
Yeah.
And so when I have more energy, I feel like I'm more able to face my fears.
Mm-hmm.
And so
and one of those
putting
fears,
myself out there.
It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
One of your big fears was putting yourself out there.
Yes and no. I don't really know how to explain it.
All right, that's okay. This wasn't your lesson. It's okay. But, all right, let's go with the weeds. I was going to get to the weeds in a little bit, but the weeds have been so cool to watch you playing with the weeds. What does that mean?
Well, I'm discovering that our common weeds in our yards are medicine. And this is actually dandelion root and a whole bunch of dandelion leaves. Michael was supposed to mow the lawn. And before he did that, I figured I better run out there and harvest some weeds because I'm learning that our medicine is really growing outside our door. And
oh, you got all sorts of cool stuff around.
Here's some, the flower fell off. Red clover, it's also a common weed. It's more bright purple when it's fresh. This is dried. And I'm just getting a real kick out of how medicine is so easily accessible. And there's no reason to go to the drugstore if you know what you're doing. Yeah,
and you've got these books so that you can look up which plant is outside the door. And you've even got a color one organized. I call it color coded, but organized by color now. And I feel like you're finding this both a missing piece and also your childlike joy, your childlike exploration coming back out.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, I would spend hours just like poking around in, I remember I'd be waiting for the bus to come and I'd be sitting on the curb and there'd be like a pile of dirt on the side of the road.
Which every kid likes to play in.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
Pushing the dirt around, looking at what's inside. Now I'm like pushing the grass around, looking at what's growing in there.
And we went hiking earlier today, Maroon Bells, which was just so cool. Watching your mom see the lake. What was that like?
Oh my gosh, I'd never heard her sound like this before. She sounded like a little girl. She was like, "Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful." She just kept saying that over and over again.
And that childlike joy of exploration that we each have our own thing, but when you get back to that, it's something just so incredibly special. So you have to go hunting. You have to go looking for it. On top of expressing yourself, on top of looking for, in your case, different herbs and plants and things of that sort. And this actually comes back to that same thing. We get to look for our creativity. All of us, no matter what you've been told. And I was sent to the principal's office or the dean's office by like Brother John or Brother Tim or something, Brother somebody in Catholic high school, because I was told I couldn't possibly be this bad at art and painting. I must be doing it just to piss off the brother, my teacher. But the fact is we all have creativity inside of us. And a part of your creativity is alchemy, is finding all these different things, is going to be even putting them together. I know that's a part of your creativity. It's just one of the many palettes you play with. We all have this creative piece, this part that is inspired or in spirit. And when we play with that, whether that's going back as an adult to a coloring book, whether that's painting, crocheting, finger paint, clay, glass work, getting on the mic, singing, dancing, whatever it is to you that puts you in that creative process helps you to find that happy place. For myself, part of my creativity actually comes on the bicycle or on the trails. There's something about crafting the body, about crafting the athlete, about crafting what I'm capable of doing that I can lose hours, days, and you're going, Michael, why do you want to talk about this even more? Because I'm just so enraptured through that creative process. With that said, talking about enraptured, if we want to go to happiness, one of the biggies is meditation. When we go to meditation, we may find joy in the meditation itself. There can be very uplifting meditations, but you're also hitting the pause button in your day. This one is huge. If you don't hit the pause button, then no matter what you do, almost without exception, if it's from event to event to event to event, even if it's almost winning $1 million, and everybody will go, well, that's different. All right, maybe winning $1 million is different. Haven't won $1 million. But barring that, if you don't have a pause in your day and you're just running from doing to doing to doing, everything loses its edge. Everything loses its dimension, its flavor, its taste, its touch, its texture, and its joy. So we need to pause and slow down so that we can experience the joy in things again. If not, if you're going from event to event, you can feel numb. And you're going, well, I'm depressed. You may not be depressed at all. It may be that you're just stuck on the gas pedal and don't have a chance to back off. Looks like you might want to say something. Don't want to put you on the spot. She's nodding no. We're going to continue right on down the tracks, and we're going to talk about clearings. Now, I've talked about this often, but the fact is that if you have emotional blocks, wounds, energetic patterns that are running or repeating, or ruminating thoughts or fears or a PTSD that's going on inside of you, then no matter how much you're presented with chocolate cake, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but no matter how much you're presented with chocolate cake, you may still be numb at best or upset at worst. So do clearings, do emotion code, do tapping, seek professional help, but work to get past the emotional blocks and wounds that are keeping you numb or walling you off from the joy. We talked about it earlier, but I want to mention this again because seeing your mom cresting the hill and seeing the lake was such a moment of pure joy that I feel like we need to mention again appreciation and appreciating the moment. Did she appreciate that moment?
Totally. I didn't even know that was possible.
And now she's been outside on the deck all afternoon with this ear-to-ear girlish grin, watching the hummingbirds kick back off of the electronics in a place of bliss, in total, complete appreciation.
Oh, and then when we told her it was time to turn around.
Oh man, she did not. She didn't want to go. She kept going.
She's like, no.
And then she was scheming how to get back here, which I love. I want to get her back here as soon as we can because seeing them happy makes me happy.
But it was good for us to turn around because we were at a very high altitude, over 9,000 feet, and they just arrived a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so health-wise, it was very good. But what was okay, so let's talk chocolate cake. Shall we talk chocolate cake?
Yeah.
So chocolate cake is my thing. Well, chocolate brownies and chocolate, everything chocolate is my thing in moderation. And I'm not actually a real sugar guy. I don't like things that are very sweet. Now, for this birthday, I was majorly impressed that Jessica got me some chocolate cupcakes.
Vegan.
Vegan. I think, are they gluten-free too?
Probably.
So pretty awesome. Extremely sweet. Can only have them in small moderation. And we went to go out on a hike today. Well, we went to Maroon Bells. And this is the craziest thing. And I think this happens when you get into your heart space. Crazy stuff like this happens. We're out on the trails. Just out on the trails. And a park ranger turns to us and says, do you want to have some cake? You've got to have some cake. Come this way. She was like selling us. Was she selling us on the cake?
We're in a national park area.
In the middle of not really nowhere, but in the middle of a national park. And there's a ranger who's saying...
Who's like gathering like all the people coming off the bus. Come here, have some cake.
This isn't your normal national park experience. I've been to a lot of national parks, maybe not as many as you. Have you ever been offered cake at a national park?
No, not by a ranger.
No. So it turns out today is the 40th anniversary of the national park for Maroon Bells on this one day only. And at this one day only, at this one time only, they had one cake only. And for those lucky enough to show up then, they got...
chocolate or vanilla.
Yes, your choice.
Half of
to
the
please
cake was
both
chocolate.
people. Chocolate cake. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this?
More cake in our fridge?
I didn't know that. So I had chocolate cake. Again, not a sugar guy. Wouldn't go out and buy myself the cake. I have this thing about free cake being given to me. I have a hard time saying no. But then we get home and Jessica informs me that there is
chocolate cake. It actually been in the fridge for a few days, but I know you can't find things in the fridge. So
anything you want, babe, just put it in the fridge. So, but this is about finding your happy place. When you find your happy place, fun stuff like chocolate cake come up. Now, a few more things I want to cover. One you've been talking a lot about recently, which is judgment. Letting go of dogma, letting go of judgment, letting go of the rule sets. I could have gone there and said, I'm a vegan. Do you have any milk or eggs in your cake? Or I could have said, I don't do sugar, and regularly at home I don't do sugar. But when you do that dogma and judgment, you're setting yourself up for
sadness.
Sadness. I was going to go with Mr. T. Pain. Lots and lots of pain. That's attachment too. Like on the birthday, if I had said, no, it needs to be XYZ, which my ego was trying to struggle with for a few hours. But if you're stuck on something, if you judge, if you label something, then you're really taking yourself to a place of pain and sadness. On that note, we had on a guest recently, Dan Millman, author of The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. And he was analyzing my numbers, amazing stuff he does on numerology. You can go to peacefulwarrior.com. And he was saying that I'm somebody who likes experiences more than material possessions. And it got me thinking, and I do like a material possession, like a bicycle that I can use day after day, year after year, month after month, year after year, because of the experiences I get with it. But if you told me right now, I can give you a huge chunk of money, Michael, or you can have the afternoons off to go play. But
how many afternoons? How much money?
I knew she was going to go there. I knew it. And like, be careful, Michael. Don't want to stop the flow. But you get what I'm saying. Expectations are hugely important. And if you invest in the if you invest in the experiences, you're probably a lot more likely to find happiness than just investing in things, in stuff. And so like, if you look at, I could buy this nice new shiny bling bling, whatever it is, versus I could go and take an afternoon or take a weekend or take a trip or something like that. It may well be that experience, and the studies have shown this, experiences stick with us for a lifetime. The bling bling, whatever that means, isn't so shiny, is dented, and may go to a landfill later on and no longer bring you the same joy. But the experience remains. It remains in here.
Especially if you take note of it, which you are doing every night.
Oh my gosh, yes. I get to do a better job, but I am doing it every night right now. Mm-hmm. Thanks to
Matthew Dix.
Thanks to Matthew Dix. He has a homework exercise called Homework for Life. And each night in your Excel spreadsheet, you write down the cool stuff that took place in the day, and it helps you to remember it. Okay, you've got a little wooden stick next to you. Do you want to talk about this as we're going along, or is that just there for love and light?
I just like the smell of it. It's Palo Santo.
And that makes me feel good. It reminds me of ceremony. And it just takes me to a place of bliss. And scents do that. Scents, I don't know of anything more powerful than a scent to take you back to your childhood or take you back to a special moment. More than the sight, more than the feel, more than anything, scent seems to go straight to the memory system of the brain. For yourself?
I don't know that's bringing me back to ceremony. I just like it. Maybe it's from past lives.
Well, I'm talking about other scents of taking you back to your childhood.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes they're happy memories and sometimes they're not so happy memories.
So choose your aroma wisely if you're going to aromatherapy. All right, a few last things.
Wait, there's a very important question from Razi who asks, Michael, how many coffees have you had?
I'm going to let Jessica answer this question.
0. I've never seen Michael have coffee.
So I am naturally, it's funny, and I was thinking about this in a coaching session a couple of days ago. I feel like I've come full circle, and I feel like something has taken place because of this birthday, actually, which is I used to be a complete and total squirrel on crack. I was the ADD poster child. I literally wrote a book on ADD, College Confidence with ADD, and was a national speaker for ADD. Since that time, through rewiring, through meditation, I have found, as a general rule, a very calm, quiet, centered place. But now for some reason, maybe it's my birthday, I don't know, I've been watching it in my coaching sessions too. It's a metered thing. I can fully control it, but there's more of a joyous exuberance and energy that's been coming out over the last few days that I've been noticing.
Even though we're both a little sleep deprived because we gave up our bed for my parents.
Yeah.
And we're sleeping in the guest room.
Yes.
And we're still adapting.
And it's
and actually Michael gave up on adapting. He's sleeping on the floor.
I am sleeping on the floor. And I said, we meet again, my old friend. But I feel like I'm coming to this really energized place. I guess we can call it a coffee buzz place without the coffee, but that's very controllable and very focused. But it's really that inner joy coming out.
I think also you just happen to light up whenever the camera is on you.
This is true.
And it's not because it's not a prima donna thing. It's just
part of my path.
It's part of your makeup. I think it's part of your design.
Yeah, you've talked about if you're having a bad day, let's just get you on stage or on the mic and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Most people, public speaking doesn't go that way if they're having a bad day. So no to the coffee. All right, jumping back in. Last couple things. We want to get you to your heart-centered space, whatever that means for you, and to camp out there as much as you can. We talked about heart coherence a lot in recent shows. It's something I've been working on significantly, of breathing into and out from the heart and really trying to open up the heart and stay in this special place, which brings me to the last story of the day before we open it up to questions, which is I've been doing bicycle racing this summer, first time in 15 years. Still haven't told my parents about that.
Which?
The bicycle racing.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't.
Purposely?
I notice each week when they say, has anything come up? And I don't go there.
Oh.
So
I don't think they would.
I don't think they'd mind. No. I think they would be very supportive of me. So, but maybe
because if something happens, it's my responsibility. It's not theirs anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So we get to tell the fam. With that said, 2 weeks ago, I did a race. It scared me. The riders around me on a downhill scared me. And I went into a real unheart-centered space, a real fear-based place. I had stayed in a heart-centered space up the first climb, a road race. And on the downhill, there were a few riders who were just not very skilled on their bike, but were strong, and they were in front of me. And they were really, really sketchy and scary, at least to my nervous system. I do realize, and I've been watching this, that my nervous system is on heightened alert on the bicycle. I think because of past injuries, having nothing to do with the bicycle.
Yeah.
But I dramatize how dangerous something may be. Now, some situations, guy did slam on his brakes before a minivan, are admittedly really, really dangerous. But when the riders came whooshing by in the other direction, I was freaked out. And I don't think there was any reason to be freaked out. So my nervous system went into heightened alert. Fast forward to this past week, I wasn't sure if I was going to do the race or not. It's a mountain bike race. And I said, your goal, Michael, 100%, above and beyond anything else, is to stay in a heart-centered space, to stay in your happy place, the Happy Gilmore happy place, the whole race. No matter what, stay in that happy place. And it was raining beforehand. It was muddy. It was cold. And I had a ball. I had a blast. I went up the first climb. I'm right behind the front group of 8, and I can't believe that I'm still there. And I'm actually going, and no, I don't think I took my hands off of the bars. I know you'd be asking that, but I went, woohoo! And then another time, a few minutes later, woohoo! And a guy behind me yelled something to the effect of, I'm forgetting the exact words right now, something about, I'm so enthusiastic, I'm helping him in the race. So that's where I was. I was in this childlike state, or not childish, childlike state of joy. And I stayed in my bliss space. Basically, I went back to my heart, went back to my breath, went back to my breath, went back to my breath. Oh, how am I going to be able to go back to the breath? Oh, the rider's right behind me. Go back to the breath. And I kept coming back to this special place. And I finished that race. And I'm not sure I could have been happier had I gotten first place. Okay, would have been fun. But I'm not sure I could have been happier because I stayed in my heart-centered space. If you can challenge yourself to, instead of looking at situations, This can be painful. This can be difficult. This can be drudgery. This can be whatever. But instead, challenge yourself. Can I stay in the heart space? Can I breathe in and out from the heart? Can I focus on love? Can I focus on gratitude? I've been switching my mantra. My mantra has always been, I send love, I send love, I send love. You know what my new mantra is? Breathe love.
That's what I was going to say, but I didn't.
Wow, you'd be right. You were right. So it's just breathing in love. Breathe in, send out love. Breathe in, send out love. Breathe in, send out love. I get this goofy grin on my face. I'm going into my heart space. So I've got another one of these rides coming up tomorrow on the road. The whole goal is just simply, how much can I be in the heart space? This morning, I got just not a great night's sleep. And I'm doing this hard math thing this morning, and it actually was not going that well, at least according to the how much is in each column. Even though it said I was in the heart coherence space, it's like 42, 44%. But I'm like, great. I'm apparently innerly struggling because of the amount of sleep that I got. What can I do to get in a heart space? Can I use this as a practice to stay in this heart space even more? And I think when you start to flip that on its end, sort of like coming back to perspective, you can change how much joy you can have in the moment, how much you can find your heart space, how much you can find your happy place by going back to that heart space. So that's all I've got from here. You know, I haven't even done, usually we go over, what do we call it? Events coming up, sales, things like that, all of that stuff. Housekeeping, I call it. Mm-hmm. I didn't even do any housekeeping today. Should we do a little housekeeping before we go into the questions? Or before that, is there anything that you want to add?
It's not for a lack of wanting to express myself. I'm just...
We're back from Maroon Bells. She's a little bit tired. I myself wanted to get a nap bad, but we do know that I come to life once we get me on camera. That's good. I have only one coaching session after this, and coaching lights me up as well. The upload is done, and so there's this general sense of relief. I can be my squirrel on crackedness for an hour or so, and then I can go down.
Yeah.
So, all right, upcoming. I know of a few things. First off, in September, we have a manifestation masterclass. It's filling fast. It's only open to 15 people. We haven't even made a web page for this thing yet, but it's kind of like group coaching meets law of attraction, where we're going to work together as a 15-person group to help you achieve your dreams. Step by step, each week for 12 weeks, we go through different tools to help you on this journey, to get you into an energized place, to find your purpose, to find your happy place, to find a plan to help get you through this, and to help you learn how to do real law of attraction work. Not The Secret. The Secret's great, but The Secret gives you like a quarter of what you need. And so people are like sitting on this chair going, well, where's my Ferrari? I'm imagining driving it. And there's so many reasons you don't have your Ferrari yet, if you were even meant to have a Ferrari, because maybe that wasn't for your highest good and the highest good of all. But this world is truly an abundant place if you know how to use this stuff. So we're going to be teaching it to you. And then we're going to be doing group intention work. 15 of us working together each and every week to help you achieve your goals. Super, super excited about it. Jessica's going to give a email, I think, to find out more. My guess is it's coaching@inspirenationshow.com. We will have a web page up on it shortly. We may have even filled by that point. That starts mid-September. We also have coming up mid-September, if not sooner, our magical evening routine for slumbery spiritual speaker. Yes, seekers. Which is difficult to say if you're not getting a great night's sleep, which is why half of the program is about getting a great night's sleep. And the other half of the program is about how you can use an evening routine to set yourself up for success on a daily basis. If you're listening to this, then you're attracted to the spiritual side of things. You're attracted to the law of attraction and manifestation and all those good things. But we often have a hard time putting a routine into place or getting the follow through in place, or not being pulled in too many directions so we can actually get things done. And this program will help you do that, starting with a magical evening routine. And I'm guessing Jessica's going to give a link. I see InspireNationUniversity.com will have information up on that shortly. And then other than Patreon, which I'll mention, is there anything else? Well, while she's telling me what's next, Patreon.com. If you want to support the show, we are 100% supported by you, our listeners. Come on over to patreon.com, patreon.com/Inspire Nation. And there you can become a part of the Inspire Nation family, get your Backstage Pass. And we have near daily videos. We have giveaways, all sorts of fun stuff going on. And I'm not calling it well, I guess I can call it a smartphone with an asterisk. I gave myself a birthday gift this week, which is a smartphone asterisk without a data plan. Why don't I want a data plan? Because I don't want to be stuck out on the trails on the web, checking my email and all this good stuff. Although Jessica would say, well, you make me check mine on occasion. I'm so sorry. But with that said, I want to be able to take more videos and photos for social media, and particularly for our patron campaign, our patron members. And so I've been taking a bunch of videos this week. And you'll notice if you're on Patreon, it's been quiet the last few days because I'm trying to figure out the fastest way to transfer with this phone. But we're going to be cranking up the videos for you and cranking up particularly stuff on Patreon campaign, plus some stuff on Facebook as well. But I really want to take care of you, our supporters, our fans, our friends. And so I've been doing that. Okay. Anything you want me to cover before we dive into some questions here?
Private coaching.
Private coaching,
full
it is, man, you know,
October.
From a law of attraction point of view, I'm looking at the quaking aspen out there, and that F word I never wanted to use, because what you think about, you bring about, but we are full, completely full. So what we're doing is we're still doing one-on-one strategy sessions. I may be able to help you on your journey. And we're getting people on a wait list for coaching as well, which is now all the way out to October and stretching out from there. So if you've been thinking about coaching and you're thinking, well, maybe in a month or two, well, then now is the time to get in if you want to start coaching in a month or two. And my guess is, well, there's no guess about it. That's just going to continue to extend out and out and out until I figure out a way either to clone myself or more of these master classes where we can get more people together and reach more people at once. On that note, sneak peek. We're going to be holding a coaching program coming up in January, a coaching program to teach you how to coach others. If you want to become a coach, again, you can go send us an email at coaching@inspirenationshow.com. That's also going to fill very quickly. I know of, I don't know if it's 7, 8, 9 people on the waiting list right now, and I'm sure we'll be getting more quickly. Mm-hmm. So you might be interested in that, and we're going to have more law of attraction goodness coming up as well, but we'll tell you about that when it comes. Okay, with that said, I'd like to jump into some questions.
Okay, we've got a bunch.
All right, and I'm going to try to go through them as quickly as I can because we've been talking for quite a while here.
You've been talking.
I've been talking. Well, you know why I've been talking? You know what my reward is for this?
Chocolate cake?
Woohoo! The minute we finish, because if it's not the minute we finish, I am not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah, chocolate keeps you up.
It does.
All right. Our first question is from Amanda, who asks, how can I heal from narcissistic abuse? Having a hard time healing and finding love. Everything seems like a struggle. Stuck living in that environment. How can I find freedom?
All right. So, Amanda, I'm not sure what is meant by narcissistic abuse, if it's meaning living in a narcissistic household, if it means that you're challenged with narcissism yourself.
I don't think it's herself.
Okay. So stuck living in the environment, how can I find freedom? I don't know what your economic situation, what your living situation is. First freedom that we can find is freedom from within. It may not be easy, but if you can start to work on these things, first I would go to meditation. Why is that? Nobody can take that away from you. If you can take 5 or 10 minutes and go quiet, if not longer, you can start to find that centered space within yourself. That is step number 1. Step number 2 is putting your oxygen mask on yourself first and foremost, no matter what. What does that mean? Well, it means no matter who is torturing you, poking you, prodding you, whatever they're doing for or doing to you, you get to counterbalance it by loving yourself up like there's no tomorrow, giving yourself as much joy as you possibly can, and of course, extricating with that when possible, which comes down to knowing yourself. I would start there. Look for the joy within and go to meditation are the first 2 steps I would take. And then beyond that, start doing everything that you can to crank up that inner light. Listen to shows like this. Read books on this topic. However, don't try to do everything at once. add one new tool a week or a month, or add one new piece to your routine at a time. If you can put a routine in place, that's an anchor to help ground you, to help you feel better. And I always tend to say, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then say one more thing. So the last thing that I want to add here is let's get you out. I'm not necessarily talking about moving here, though when it's possible, that's certainly something to consider. I always tell people to move slowly, but if you're in a toxic environment, it's time to go as soon as you can. But let's get you out to nature. Let's get you out to a new congregation of friends, people who uplift you, get you out of your home to another environment, can shift everything. We are our environments. If we're living in a toxic environment, it's very hard to not be toxic. If we're spending time in nature every day, it's hard to go back to being toxic. If we're finding people who uplift us and give us joy and we're hanging with them, it also shifts us completely. So get yourself out, and out. And we send you all our love, Amanda. I personally have been there more than a time or two. It takes time, but you can most certainly do it.
Great. Our next question is from Jeff Kilpatrick, who asks, Michael, have you done any of the magic practices Dean Radin talked about in his book?
So the practices I've done so any of the magic practices of Dean Radin, I wish I could remember them off the top of my head.
Well, there is, what is it called?
Oh, with a symbol. He gave one with a symbol. And I started doing that. And I admit I stopped doing that, although I do use symbols and I do find value in them. I wish I could remember.
Can you explain what the symbol is?
Well, you can use a symbol to represent something. I used a symbol for freedom a couple of days ago. I made is the door closed? Because we're wondering about the kitties. Yeah, it's closed. I made a smiley face with a dollar sign for a nose, and the reason was because it was funny and joyous, and sigils. Yes, Jeff, a sigil. So I made a sigil for happiness, joy, and abundance, and that sigil is in many ways more powerful than any words that you can write out because it has more of a symbol or meaning to it. And so if I write that out repeatedly, it helps bring that about. And so, yeah, I find sigils to be a powerful tool. I wish I could recall all of the different things that Dean had in there. In general, though, we are using a lot of...
Are you transmuting donuts or free chocolate cake?
Oh, heck yeah.
Rangers are giving you in the woods.
And I pray and I bless that just sounds wrong. Rangers giving you cake in the woods. Here, we dug this up. Why don't you try it? See what you think. But no, we are doing a lot of transmuting of energy. We're doing a lot of hypnagogic work. We're doing a lot of transmuting our energy and changing our energetic states. We're doing a lot of either hypnagogic work or what I call work on the other side of the veil. So in short, I would call myself an alchemist. What does that mean? I'm not waving chicken bones over my head. I'm not making magic concoctions or potions, but I'm using the magic side of things. We'll call it white magic, good magic, positive magic on a daily basis. Well, I was talking with Mitch Horowitz earlier today, and we were talking about black magic. And what we were talking about is black magic was actually a term given to positive magic, but it was just that they were getting labeled so much by journalists as, what is this hocus pocus negative stuff that you're doing? It must be black magic. And they're like, okay, call it what you want. Call it black magic. And so they used that as kind of one of the most popular books on law of attraction work, which we talked about in today's show. I'm spacing on the name of it. It's a book that's a good 100 years old. Was about us being black magicians. It wasn't about us doing voodoo or bad stuff. In fact, I look at energy funny. I know that there's stuff that you can do with energy that's not so good for people, but my view of it is the more that you're doing good for others, the more your energy goes up. The more your energy goes up, the more that you can transmute and do good for others. And so I look at it as, if you're doing not so good stuff, it doesn't last for very long because your energy peters out. And if you're doing really good things for others and you're focused on certainly take care of yourself, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And that was what Mitch was talking about coming into your authentic power today. But if your focus on is for your highest good and the highest good of all, you can't help but bring in more energy and more energy and more chocolate cake on the trails.
Ready for the next question?
I'm not sure you even caught that. The chocolate cake on the trails.
I did.
Okay.
Okay. Our next question is from Lucetta, who writes, I'd appreciate your thoughts on how to disconnect spiritually and vibrationally from a toxic relative.
Oh, okay. Ho'oponopono is my first thing, Lucetta, is to heal a toxic relationship. Even if you want to distance yourself, heal yourself around the relationship. This means we are all one. It's like the right hand arguing with the left hand. You don't have to associate with them. You don't have to say, I am them. But on some level, we are all each other. But you can do an ancient Hawaiian healing exercise or healing prayer, which is, I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. Put in that toxic relative's name into your head, drop them into your heart, and repeat, not to them, but for yourself. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. Then you can do it politely. You can do it quietly. You can do it with as little drama as possible, but cut as many cords as you can and get back as far as you can. You owe it to yourself. We have this belief in our society that we have to try to please everyone. We're taught to be people pleasers, please our parents, please our teachers, please our elders. And so we get in a conflicted space where we say, I need to please the other person, even though I really want to be as far from them as possible. You may not be able to please everybody in this situation. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Set boundaries. This is growing into your true authentic space. Boundaries are not easy. Boundaries take practice. Boundaries take a lot of work. But the more you practice it now, the more your energy you're going to have to set even healthier boundaries in the future.
Okay, next question from Diana. How do I tell the difference from a desire coming from my heart or from my head? I bought a fitness program I really desired in the moment and was convinced it was coming from my heart. Now I regret it.
So Diana, that's a brilliant, brilliant question. How do we tell if something's coming from the head or the heart? Now, I keep on my desk, and when I coach, I actually pulled it out with Mitch as well. I have a little stuffed turtle on my desk. And the reason is I like to move, as a Tibetan teacher once told us, slowly, slowly, which means that if I'm excited about a program, if I'm excited about anything, if I'm excited in the store and I go, wow, that's just the neon yellow vest that I've been hoping to manifest, which I actually would love a vest like that I saw a few days ago. I don't want to get it in the moment. I want to step back and feel it out. And if it is tugging at my heartstrings, then the next chance that I have, I will either go and see if it's still available. If it is, great. If it isn't, great. Or I won't want it. The heart will actually grow stronger and stronger and stronger over time. That's part of how you know it's the heart. The head, it tends to move on unless it latches upon an idea, in which case you can say, do I think this is the program I want, or do I feel? So you can go into things like automatic writing, which we take. You can go into a journaling process. You can go into meditation. You can simply put your hands over your heart and say, how does this feel to me? But we need to get back from the moment. In the moment, it's really hard to tell. There's too much of a dopamine response. There's too many endorphins going on. Going, oh, wow, that's exciting. That's interesting. That's this, it's that. To be able to think clearly, or in this case, to feel clearly. That's why I don't say brainstorm. I say heart feel. Brainstorming is so violent. I want to brainstorm. It's the word storm. Instead, we want to step back, get to our heart space, literally put our hands over our heart and feel into it. Jessica, is there anything you would add? I know you're scrolling through this right now, but how would you tell if something is head versus heart for yourself?
Well, I might do some automatic writing on it. So journaling, if you don't know how to do automatic writing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's what you just said. Just diving deep and really feeling it out from the heart.
So I like that you're saying diving deep. Diving deep to me means pausing, leaning into it, and saying, what are the emotions that are coming up? What is this doing? You could even ask, where do I feel this in my body?
Mm-hmm.
So if your head feels like it's going to explode, it's probably a thought. And if you're getting a twisting in your gut, that's probably not a good thing. If it's a fluttering in your gut, though, I like fluttering.
You could also ask, who wants this?
That's a brilliant question.
Like, is it something from your childhood? Is it something that your parents would have wanted for you? Mm-hmm. Is it something that society says you should want for yourself? You interviewed Sarah Hay.
Just came out today on audio. Sarah Hayes Coomer.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how we have body conceptions or body desires for how our body looks like that aren't coming from ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that we can't have a healthy body or that there's anything wrong with wanting a healthy body, but what's healthy to you? And oftentimes it's what society has taught us, what the cover of magazines growing up taught us, what our parents taught us. So many parents I've heard are like, slap a kid's hand or something and say, put that down, fatty, or something, and just trashed a kid, completely blown their self-esteem right out of the water. And so you might be looking at this fitness program and running a desire that's not yours. And the most important thing that can give you the greatest freedom is to recognize whose that is. It doesn't mean that you might not want to get in great shape, but you might want to do it your way, which is huge. That might be paddling, swimming, running, kayaking, gym, aerobics, or simply parking the car far away and walking more. It doesn't matter, but it's what you want. I love what you're saying. It's not what somebody else wants for you. And then being okay, not just okay, being in love. This is crazy. Being in love with your body just as it is. Now, for myself, as a competitive cyclist, where every pound matters, I still look at my belly and I grab these little skin calipers, because when I was a kid, I was actually trained in skin calipers, which you would use in the old days, and it would measure body fat.
His invisible love handles, which aren't really love handles.
And I go, how am I doing today? But I don't love myself any less, whether than I got a lot of reserve for a big ride or no reserve. There's a difference. In the old days, that wasn't the case. And in fact, I caught myself this week because there's a big hill race coming up. And I said, well, I want to be able to fly on the hills. And for a nanosecond, I started eating less. And I remembered back to when I was 16 years old and went to my first national championships. And I lost 15 or 20 pounds before the big race. And it was a mess. Well, that and I trashed the bicycle in a parking lot, driving it into a lamppost when backing up the car. But the fact of the matter is, even if I had my bicycle, I lost too much weight and I was weak. Mm-hmm. And so what have I been doing this week?
Eating chocolate cake.
Eating chocolate cake. I've been eating like a madman. I have been just eating and eating and eating. Not overeating, not oink eating, but just not saying whether I come in a little bit, whatever is overweight, whatever I come in is perfect. I'm going to treat my body with love and respect and not try to withhold or starve it for any reason, which is so huge because it's a topic for another day. But I ran into some eating disorder challenges, as I'm mentioning here, when I was a kid, because every ounce you're told mattered. But the trick is that then I was associating my body image with how much I liked myself. And now, if I showed up in the mirror tomorrow and I had a giant pudge factor 8, whatever, I would still love myself. I'd say, well, maybe we can do something about it, but I'll love myself just as I am.
It's interesting that you just said that, because I was thinking for Diana, if she returned the fitness program, mm-hmm. would she still love herself?
That's a brilliant question. So
like, does it matter what she does with the fitness program?
Well, it's an excellent point, because if you return the fitness program and then you find that you love yourself less, then what you realize is you're running somebody else's program. It's not actually yours. So if you're brave, that could be a great experiment to do. And I realize, depending if it's an online program, you may actually have to send some emails or make a phone call to be able to return it. But that too is stepping into your authentic power.
Mm-hmm.
And then do what you love, whatever that is, to get yourself in the greatest shape, or love yourself just as you are. I'm convinced just doing the heart math tool alone, forget about getting in shape, just working on heart rate variability is probably going to do more for my cardiovascular system than any amount of racing, riding, or anything that I possibly can do.
It's a lot of deep breathing. Yeah.
It's a lot of deep breathing. And it's really helping build resilience into my blood vessels and heal the heart.
Yeah.
Literally heal the heart.
I mean, they recommend breathing, inhaling for 5 seconds and exhaling for 5 seconds, but I've been prolonging that and finding I reach heart coherence even quicker if I breathe slower, which is interesting. It seems...
I found, I don't know about you, I found a sweet spot. If I do maybe 5 or so seconds, great. As soon as I really extend the breath, it's too much work on the system and the heart coherence. I'll stay in a coherent state, but it goes down.
Yeah, if you find that you're like holding your breath or something, it could cause some anxiety.
I bet that's what's going on. I bet that's exactly
I don't push it that. I mean, I did experiment and discover that also.
And I've been experimenting with what words raise the heart coherence up higher, what emotional or what memories raise the heart rate. What can I do to really spike that number? So, okay, do we have we've got time for maybe 2 more questions?
That's it.
That's perfect. That's perfect timing. How does it get any better than this? Next, we can break and have some
chocolate cake.
I'm thinking, I don't know what his reputation is these days, but Bill Cosby, he had an old skit, old skit.
Yeah.
Where he feeds his kids. The mom is out or asleep or something. I guess she's out, and he doesn't know what to feed the kids for breakfast. And so he feeds them chocolate cake. And then the mom comes home and finds all the kids having chocolate cake for breakfast. And the kids are singing, "Daddy's great for giving us the chocolate cake." My inner child.
I do remember that. We do have one more question from Marilyn, who asks, how do you know when you reach heart coherence? It's a very good question.
So a state of joy is certainly a huge indicator that you've reached it. A state of heart coherence means that your heart emanates a larger electrical field than the mind, significantly larger, which means that your mind can never control your heart, but your heart can control your mind. If you're in a state of heart coherence, the mind tends to go a little bit quieter, is calmer, less ruminating, feels more at peace, more at ease, more in a happy state. That's a sign you're in heart coherence. For ourselves, we're using a toy. You're using from HeartMath something called the Inner Balance little Bluetooth device she uses with her phone, and it shows her. It's red for not in coherence, blue in mild or medium coherence, and the device goes to green if she's in full coherence. I'm using this device called M-Wave 2, which you can carry around with you without a phone, which shows those colors as well, but I just plug it into my computer. And so I can literally see on the screen both when I'm in coherence. I can also look at my breath and heart pattern. A nice smooth sine curve means I'm in coherence, and it'll show me a number. It'll be 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so forth to 1, or to 0.99 is not in full coherence. 1.0 is coherent, but it actually goes up to probably 10.0, maybe even more than that. I don't know. Maybe Jessica has been there. But you can use this device to see how high of a state of coherence can I be in? How long can I stay in this state of coherence? How much can I anchor this state? So for instance, I go to automatic writing, which is a heart-centered activity, but I start to forget about my breath after I've done my heart coherence meditation. And I actually, in automatic writing, will fall out of heart coherence, even in that special sacred state. And so I'm working to extend it longer and extend it longer and extend it longer still. Last note on it is these HeartMath devices have tones. So like when I go to sleep at night, I just tuck this device under my pillow and I can just listen. And if it's a boo tone, I'm out of coherence. Boo. Let's see if I can do this. Ba, out of coherence. Ba, mild coherence. Ba, in coherence. And so if you hear this high tone, high tone, high tone, you know you're in a state of coherence. And you can practice that for 5 or 10 minutes, then shut it off, go to sleep, and you help your body stay in a more coherent state. The heart obviously doesn't sleep. The mind doesn't sleep. You can help stay there through the night. And Jessica her fingers are just whirling away on the keyboard. Anything else you want to add before we let people go for the evening? I guess I can repeat our housekeeping real briefly for people.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just relaxing into my current state of being in front of strangers.
You guys aren't strangers. We love you guys.
Well,
we're not sure who's listening right now, but we love you.
There can be replays that anyway. I forget what I was saying.
You're relaxing into your state of being.
Yeah, because I'm not usually out in public when I'm this fatigued. You know, I hibernate. So it's a lesson in being okay with whatever mood or state of being you are in, and it's all perfect.
Oh, I'm going like this because I am so, I don't know if proud is the right word. I don't want to sound condescending or anything, but I'm so proud of you. It's so exciting to see because I know your natural state, and your natural state when tired is not put yourself out in front of others. And it's huge. And I have a feeling it's energizing too, if you can let go.
This is energizing?
Yeah.
Usually it is energizing, but not tonight.
Gotcha. All right.
I think I'm just so sleepy.
Gotcha. On that note, we have all sorts of programs coming up. You can find out about them online. We're going to have our Manifestation Masterclass. You can find out more by emailing coaching@inspirenationshow.com. We'll have our magical evening routine for Slumbery Spiritual Seekers program coming out. You can find out more about that coming up at inspirenationuniversity.com. And if you want to support us and support the show and get on near daily videos with behind the scene looks at what we're doing with daily words of wisdom, near daily words of wisdom, and lots of fun prizes and books as well, you can go to patreon.com/InspireNation. Become a member of the Inspire Nation family. We are so glad you can join us here this evening. Go to your heart space, find that happy place for you. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first and work above and beyond everything that you can possibly do to get yourself in that state of happiness or in that state of gratitude and appreciation each and every morning. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you say, I intend for today to be the happiest day I have ever had, it will be a little bit better day. If you do that the next day and wake up and say, I intend for today to be the happiest day I have ever had, it will be a little bit better of a day. You set this intention each and every morning, and I can't promise they will be the happiest days in the world, but you will make the decisions and you will raise your energetic level up to help you to live a happier, more peaceful, more joyous day and more joyous life. So that's it from here. I want to wish you the most beautiful day ahead. I'm going to jump off the line, grab some chocolate cake, head into coaching, give Jessica a massive high five and probably a good hug to boot. I want to wish you the most beautiful, beautiful week ahead. Anything else, Pookie?
It's okay to be introverted.
It's totally okay to be introverted. Do I like to hide and hibernate on occasion? No?
Yes, but then if I were to walk into the bedroom and say, hey, Michael, there's a news crew outside that wants an interview right now, you'd be like, you'd jump out of bed going, woo! You'd run down the stairs and outside, and you'd be on.
I'm not even going there. We send you all our love. Shine bright.
Good night.
Great job, Pookie.